I am very grateful, very humbled by the nominations for Best Song. You just heard the song. Maite Perroni sings the song.
Maite Perroni.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
And also for Best Film Musical, which of course all of us share. I love doing musicals. I was 26 when I got my first job in a musical, and I had never sung publicly in my life before, really, like not professionally. So it was a big surprise to me. Since then, I've done a lot of them. When they work, when you're on stage or in a film with an audience watching a musical, something different happens that happens in any other film. People's hearts open, they leap to their feet. It brings out a joy and a happiness, and that I really enjoyed going back to that. It's also we developed this and rehearsed this and shot this almost like it was a Broadway show. We were a family. We really became family, and I'm really proud of it, and I'm really proud to be able to share the success of it with everybody. That makes sense. But I hope everyone in Mexico gets as much joy out of it as we got. Gracias.
Siguiente pregunta, Aida Santana, Fruity Punch.
Hugh, good morning. In this movie, you sing, you dance, you already have an Oscar nomination as Best Actor, you have a Golden Globe. I mean, is there something you can't do? I'm guessing your next challenge is directing or maybe being a president or something.
So sorry. I was really trying to listen to this. Only halfway through did I realize you were speaking English and this was... I'm sorry. Can you just quickly repeat that?
What's your next challenge? Because you already do everything in your movies. You sing, you dance, you have an Oscar nomination for Best Acting, you have a Golden Globe. I mean, you're supposed to become a president or something. Because what's the next
I won't be running for office, political office, I can tell you that. I don't know. It's an exciting time in my life. In that Logan finished a 17-year run playing a character, which honestly I never thought would be more than one movie. It's been amazing. I just wrapped a film with Jason Reitman called The Front Runner, which is a political comedy, something very different. I'm excited to take on new things and different things, and I'm not sure, but I have to tell you, sitting on the stage with this incredible young woman, I've decided that I want to be like Zendaya when I grow up. So when I work that out, I'll let you know exactly. But this is my mentor here.
Siguiente pregunta, Ninoshka Aguilar, Prensa Escenario.
Yo tengo dos preguntas para Zendaya y para HUGH JACKMAN. Si me podría platicar del proceso musical, cómo fue cantar estas canciones, estos compositores nuevos que habían grabado la verdad de aquí,
¿Puedes hablar un poquito más lento y más fuerte, por favor?
De la música, si puedo comentar del proceso musical, cómo fue, qué opinan de estos compositores maravillosos y de haber confiado en ellos, porque todavía no ganaron unos, pero no ganan. Igual del director que no es operativo, se nos puede decir su opinión. Y por último, el mensaje. A mí me gustó un mensaje de la película que se llama El arte de más noble es el de hacer felices a los demás. Para ustedes, ¿cuál fue el mensaje que más les gustó de la película? Gracias.
Hello.
Hello. Just kidding. Hello? Okay, there we go. Musical process. I think I fell in love with the music as soon as I heard it. I was lucky enough to, we have, Benj and Justin, who are so talented and so creative and have really, this is their baby. And when I first came in, and I actually went up for my audition process. I asked if I could get the song so I could record it in my garage and show them what I could do to kind of solidify my spot in the movie. I think that's when I fell in love with this song, but I think everybody can relate to each of the songs in a different way, and I think that's what's so beautiful about it, is I think at any point in the day, no matter how you're feeling, what emotion you're going through, one song will speak to you loudly, and it'll be stuck in your head. head, and I think that that's something special, you know, with anything that you go through in life, there's a song that fits for you. And that's what makes, I think, the whole soundtrack special, you know. And for me, being able to record it and being with Benj and Justin, who allowed me the freedom to, I guess, have fun, you know. They were like, we want it to be you as well. We want your influence. We want to hear you shine through the song. And so they allowed me to do my thing and have fun and collaborate with them as much as I could. And that's always a good process, you know, when you feel like you're involved.
They didn't allow me that freedom because I didn't have the same level of talent. And I remember hearing Zendaya's recording of her song. I went in to record and I said, you should listen to this. And I was so blown away. And I said, all those things that are different from the notes, like all the little licks, I've learned that term, the licks. Did you teach Zendaya like you teach me? And he goes, no, she just didn't. I said, so are you okay if I just do some stuff? He goes, no, I'm not okay. You do what I tell you. Justin and Benj, it's for me one of the great stories of this film. When we started 7.5 years ago, there had not been an original movie musical in Hollywood for 23 years. It was considered too risky, too much to ask an audience to hear 10 new songs, as well as taking a new story. So the belief and the determination was we would get Pharrell Williams, Bruno Mars, Adele, Macklemore Lewis, big names, all to submit songs. And we would have songs that could be in a musical, could also play on the radio. And these young guys wrote one song. And it's a long story but they got one song through. And about 6 months later, it was 2 songs. And finally, the studio executive in Hollywood pulled Michael Gracie, our director, and I'll talk a little more about him in a second, pulled him in and said, who are these young guys? Who's this Justin and Benj? I thought we were going to big names. And he goes, oh no, they're big. They're really, really big. He goes, where? He goes, well, they're huge on Broadway. And he goes, what have they done? He said, well, they just won a Tony Award on Broadway. And he goes, for what? He said, the James and the Giant Peach. There's never been a production of James and the Giant Peach, but the Hollywood executive didn't know that. So he goes, oh, okay. And so that's how they got in the door. And now they wrote all 10 songs because, and it's, I think, one of the real jewels of this film is the music. It's beautiful. It does, as Zendaya says, speaks to everyone. And Michael Gracie, who's the real P.T. Barnum of this, all of us involved, from the studio, Zendaya, me, Zach, we all were ultimately believing in Michael. He had the vision from the beginning. He has a very famous pitch for the movie that takes 45 minutes. He gave that pitch 1,000 times. And every single time, everyone was in. He made you believe. He brought you along in the same way P.T. Barnum did. And so he's really another great story, I think, of this movie. And I love that you picked up upon that quote. The noblest art is that of making others happy, which is a true quote from Barnum. In his time, and I think it's true now, people had preconceived ideas about what was art and what was acceptable. It was opera, it had to enrich you, make you smarter, make you more civilized, elevate. And he was the first to go, can't we just have fun? Shouldn't art melt your heart? Shouldn't it make you cry and laugh and sing? Does it have to be important? Does it have to be elevating? Why can't we feel? And he got a lot of criticism at the time, but I think it speaks to everyone today. And I say to my kids, don't listen to music that everyone else says is cool. If a teacher says, oh, this is a very important book, read it, but if it doesn't feel important to you, it's not important to you. Follow your heart, follow your bliss, go with that. And so that's really, I think, the legacy of P.T. Barnum. The noblest art is that of making others happy. If you can open someone else's heart, then that's a good life. 4 questions, you're going to be in trouble.
Ok, siguiente pregunta, César Murillo, Film Channel. César?
Hi, good morning. This question is for all of you. All the songs of the movie are amazing. I really like the soundtrack. but I want to know what's your favorite song and why. Thank you.
This is the hardest question because it changes every 5 minutes. Like literally, it changes every 5 minutes. At some point, it was, you know, sometimes 3 Red Stars, sometimes it's This Is Me, sometimes it's Up the Other Side. It literally changes all the time, and I think that, and I'm not just trying to be like, oh, our musical is great, but the music is really just, I don't know, it's something special, and you just want to listen to them all. And I can't say that I have a favorite. I think that This Is Me. I think if I had to choose, I would say This Is Me, because I think it's a song that, you know, for at least for me, when I hear it, I can't not get a little bit teary. Because I think even on the day when we were shooting it, it was really empowering. I think everybody, especially all the dancers, we were there and we were shooting this, and at the end, Michael Gracie just kept rolling, and he was like, you know, just be happy and just, you know, feel what you feel, and everybody was like crying. They're like, I love you. This is amazing. This is me. You know, and I think at that time we kind of, I don't know, left the movie for a second, and everybody was just dancing for themselves and singing for themselves, and that felt really good. And it's rare that people are just able to be proud of saying that this is me. You know, that we don't say that often. Like, you know what, this is me. So I don't know. It's just like it's nice to hear yourself say when you sing it. You know.
I love right now. I totally agree with Zendaya, my mentor. The song, Rebecca's song, Never Enough, slays me. It absolutely slays me right now. But I would, from now on, which is a song I have, from the moment I heard it, I choke up every time I think of it. But I think This Is Me, ultimately, would be the one. And I love the story again. Another great story is Kiara Settle, who was a Broadway veteran. 13 years has been on Broadway. 8 shows a week, and this is her first film. And she was so good at our final presentation. And there were big names wanting to play this part. I don't want to tell you who, but big names. She was that good. Tears streaming down her face. I looked out at the 60 people. It was kind of like this. Everyone crying. The head of the studio, mid-performance, leapt out of his chair, ran across, hugged her, and I was close, and he said, you just booked your first major motion picture. And it was so that song always gets me.
Siguiente pregunta, Ana Jenny Moreno, Pollux.
Hola, buenos días. Mi pregunta es, ¿qué mensaje?
No te oyes.
Mi pregunta es, ¿qué mensaje le darían, de acuerdo a lo que ustedes han vivido en experiencia, a esas personas que tienen un proyecto en mente pero no se atreven a dar el primer paso?
Yeah, my belief, or my personal philosophy, has always been, I would prefer to have done something and failed than to look back and feel I didn't attempt it because I was scared. I think that is harder to live with. I've had a few moments in my life. Ironically, the first time I sang at a rugby match in front of 100,000 people, I was terrified. When I was asked to host the Oscars, part of me was like, I'm not Billy Crystal, why am I? But in the end, you think, go for it. You know, we have a saying in Australia, have a go. Just try to do it. We would prefer someone in Australia to attempt something and fail than to not attempt it all. And to not take it all too seriously. So I think ultimately for us, and I'm so grateful to the studio, who took a risk. It's a bigger risk for them than it is for me. We had an absolute blast filming this. I do not regret anything 1 second. It was a time I liked. And for them, it was a big risk. And I'm really proud to work with Fox. In 1 year, took a big risk on Logan, taking a different turn from all the other X-Men movies and doing this movie. So, yeah, I always encourage people to go for it. Our job, ultimately, is to fall on your face. Actors, if you're not prepared to fall flat on your face, you shouldn't be an actor. If you're only caring about being perfect all the time, don't be an actor. It's about trying things, failing, picking yourself up, and having a laugh about it.
Siguiente pregunta, Loredana Flores, Sector Cine. Loredana.
Hi. Here? Hi.
Hola.
This question is for both of you. The Greatest Showman talks about diversity and being different, so do you think the movie could help in a way about the situation, what's happening in the world?
I sure hope so. I mean, it's just a movie, and hopefully it'll bring joy to people, which I think is the most important thing we need right now. But I think specifically what drew me to my portion of the movie, my portion of the movie is a love story with Zach's character, and it's set in a circus, but really it can set anywhere. Really, it's a love story about a forbidden love, and I think that that's something that unfortunately we still deal with. We still live in a time where people want to tell people who they can love. And, I think that at the end of the day, for these two characters, allowing, it's a constant battle of heart and mind. And at some point, they both have to just let their heart speak and let their heart be louder than anything else. And I think at the end of the day, it's much easier said than done, but the idea, at least in my little portion of this movie, is just to tell people that love does really conquer all, and love should be what we always lead with, and at the end of the day, is the one thing that will make us happy. So, I mean, who's to say, in this musical, obviously it's a fantastical musical, and we can make any ending that we want to have, and thankfully this does have a happy ending for these two characters, but not everybody has that, so it's nice to see a happy ending.
I've just sitting here thinking how for 20 years I've made movies that have had a similar thing. X-Men is really a movie about inclusion and discrimination, and the way we sometimes treat people when we fear them or we don't understand them. This movie with the oddities, and this is a true story, because back then, if you were a three-legged man or a bearded lady, you weren't just different. Many people considered you cursed by God. Families would be ashamed, they would disown them, throw them out, lock them in basements. It was a horrific time. And everyone's seen the movie Elephant Man to understand what it was like. Barnum was the first to bring them out into the open, and they lived in his house. Tom Thumb married in his house. When he lost all his money at one point, Barnum, Tom Thumb was his backer. They became a family, and he was the first to say, what makes you different, makes you special. So I love that thing. But I also think, not just now, but always, we need to spend our energy in understanding and connecting. It's all too easy to isolate and differentiate yourself from other people. It's easier. It's harder to connect. Sometimes it's easier when you live in a street just to put up a fence and not really get to know your neighbours. But we all know and have experienced the situation that if you actually connect, become friends, and you're there for each other, it enriches life for everybody. And I'm firmly of the belief that we are all made of the same stuff. I don't care who you love, I don't care what age you are, what sex you are, what country you're born in. We are all humans. We are all connected. Let's spend our energy on that, and that's what this movie is a celebration of.
Siguiente pregunta, Bernardo Soto, Torreline. ¿Dónde está Bernardo?
Except at the World Cup, right? Where Australia, well,
Buenos días. La pregunta va en español y es para Zendaya. Pasas de telarañas al trapecio. Si nos pudieras hablar un poco sobre la preparación que tuviste para la película, sobre todo la actividad física y en consideración a las fans de Zac Efron, ¿cómo fue trabajar con él? Y de verdad, creo que tienen la duda de si en verdad es tan maravilloso como se ve en pantalla, tiene el aroma a menta y a flores que se ve. Y para los dos, ¿cuál fue ese show que por primera vez en la vida los dejó anonadados, como pasa en la película?
Okay. The first part I had to do with Spider-Man. Yeah, I definitely know what it feels like to be Spider-Man in this movie, as you can see. I'm constantly swinging from something and in the air. So I have a whole newfound respect for that job. But Zac Efron. Zac is awesome. He's really, really cool. And I think, what's cool about working with Zac is I got to get to know him as a human being. And I think there's kind of like this idea of what Zac Efron, the heartthrob is. And then there's like Zac Efron, the human being, And it's kind of nice to get to know him without any like preconceived ideas of who Zac is. So it was cool, and we became a really good team, because we had to literally hold each other up. If we weren't on the same page, we would hurt each other, or we would hurt ourselves, So we really had to be locked in on each other, and we had to work very hard, and we had to, there was a lot of trial and error, a lot of fails, and a lot of body slams. But at the end of the day, I think we enjoyed it, The pain kind of like went away when you just think about how amazing this number is going to be. I know it's going to be great, and then that pain just goes away, and you're like, let's just do it again, So we were very motivated. And the last one was, what was the last one? Oh, there you go. The most amazing show I saw when I was younger. Oh gosh, that's a really tough question. I think I've always been a huge Beyonce fan. So Beyonce is one of the first concerts that I went to, and I was like, I need to be up there. Like, I want to do what she's doing. So definitely Beyonce for sure. But I would also say I was lucky enough to go to Bench and Justin had a premiere of their Broadway musical, Dear Evan Hansen, and I was able to go there having no idea what I was walking into or what I was going to see, and I left like in tears. I cried 3 times, and I am like not a crier. Like, I'm not that kind of person. That's my mom. My mom cries and everything, and I don't. So when I left there crying 3 times, like it's rare that something really grabs you emotionally and makes you feel something, and I think that that's what art is supposed to do. So I think that was one of my favorite experiences. Yeah.
Shows. First one I remember is the Harlem Globetrotters. The Harlem Globetrotters came to Australia. My dad took me. You have no idea how good the Harlem Globetrotters are. And they played, I thought they were really playing Australia, the team they play. They beat them like 180 to 4 or something like that. And anyway, the Harlem Globetrotters, and in terms of musicals, one of the first shows I ever saw was Man of La Mancha. And it was at my high school, and I wasn't at that high school. I was in 4th grade, I was at 9, and I was going to go to this high school. My dad took me, and the lead actor, and I still remember his performance, was Hugo Weaving. You guys know Hugo Weaving? Yeah, Matrix and many other movies, a huge star in Australia, but he was still at high school at the time. That's the other one I remember.
Última pregunta, Ricardo Tinajero de Uno TV.
¿Cómo estás? Buenos días. Hola, Hugh.
Buenos
Oye,
días.
¿cómo te sentiste, qué tan identificado te sentiste con este personaje, ya que los dos se dedican al entretenimiento?
Yeah, my mum always said I was a bit of a show-off, so it's kind of, it's a good role for me. I really love playing the character, and he's a flawed character. He grows up in extreme poverty. He's certainly pushed aside, and many things are closed off to him. And so for him, success is not just a dream; it's survival. And he's a fighter, and I like those characters. I like characters who have imagination, who see the world differently to everybody else, and also will fight if they're pushed into the corner. So it was great fun developing. It's the first time I've been involved with a musical where we were developing it from scratch, and that's really thrilling. It's a great opportunity.
Muchísimas gracias, chicos. Thank you, Zendaya.
Gracias.
Thank you, Hugh.